When the internet began, bulletin board services, or BBS, became the first online communities of the so-called information superhighway. Using their phone lines, people logged in from all over America to talk about sports, games, movies, and on one BBS in particular, share their ghost stories. Over time, those communities all went dark, except for one lone server that continues to operate somewhere in an unknown part of Pennsylvania's Rust Belt. A relic of the 1990s, veiled in mystery, it is a digital archive of humanity's strangest encounters with the unknown, as told by the people who experienced them. My name is Brandon Schexnayder, and you are listening to Fear Daily.
Subject: Grave Robber. User: L374N. Posted May 12, 1999.
Law enforcement's in my blood. Grandfather wore the badge, and so did my old man. I picked it up when it was my turn, thinking I understood what it meant. Service, legacy, community, you know, all those big words they use when they pin a badge to your chest. But no one tells you about the quiet, about what creeps in when you're alone in your cruiser at 3 a.m. and there's no radio chatter. Just your headlights cutting through the dark and a feeling in your gut that something isn't right. My father died last month. Cancer. Took his voice first and then everything else. I've been going through his things ever since, and I found this letter in a locked strongbox in the attic. Nothing else inside, just the letter. Folded neat, wrapped in oilcloth like it was something holy or maybe dangerous. It's dated 1870, addressed to the sheriff of this county, same position held by my family for generations, but the contents... Look, I know how it sounds. I'm not saying I believe any of it, but something about this letter, it doesn't feel like fiction, and if my father kept it hidden for decades, there was definitely a reason. I've typed it out exactly as it was written. No edits, no embellishments. You can read it for yourself. Windover, October the 3rd, 1870. To the Honorable Sheriff of Downing County. Sir, I pray this letter find you in strength and clarity, for I write to you in a time of profound fear. My name is Reverend Josiah Mercer, a humble servant of the Lord and steward of the First Church of Windover, a small township some miles east of the county line. It is with great urgency and not without shame that I implore your assistance in a matter I can no longer control. 2 weeks past, the groundskeeper of St. Jude's Rest, the only cemetery in our township, discovered signs of a grave disturbance. A single plot, unearthed during the night, the coffin splintered, no remains within. At first, we suspected grave robbers, though macabre, it would not be unheard of, as the Cumberland Medical College has been accused of such offenses in the past. But this was no student's errand. The following night, another grave was opened. Then, a third. 4 in total over 5 days. The community began to whisper. Some spoke of devils, others of curses. To quell the panic, Sheriff Clary ordered our deputy, Thomas Halleck, to patrol the cemetery from dusk until dawn. He went willingly. Tom was young, brave, devout. He did not return. At sunrise, a search was mounted. We found his lantern extinguished beside the north wall. The grass was trampled. Blood was pooled near the base of the old oak. His body was not whole. Pieces were scattered across the grounds, his ribs exposed like cracked porcelain, head resting upright atop a broken gravestone. His limbs, what remained, had been chewed. No animal I've known could have caused such destruction. Sheriff Clary swore to uncover the truth. For 6 nights, he walked the cemetery alone, rifle in hand. Each morning, he returned with nothing but silence. On the 7th, he did not come back. His horse was found tied to the southern gate. His badge rested on the lid of a child's coffin. Windover has fallen to fear. Mothers bar their doors at sundown. Fathers sleep with axes at arm's reach. Some have begun exhuming their kin and reburying them near their homes. I have blessed more makeshift plots in the past week than I had in my entire calling. I am no man of violence, Sheriff, but I have taken to carrying my pistol in the pulpit. The council has dissolved. Attendance at worship has ceased. Rumors spread faster than scripture. Tales of strangers seen in the fog, of flickering lights beyond the cemetery fence, of children waking with voices not their own. One woman claims her dead husband came to her window wearing the suit he was buried in. She found muddy footprints outside the next morning. I dismissed these stories at first, called them grief and imagination, but I fear now they are warnings I failed to heed. Windover is unraveling. The people no longer look each other in the eye. We speak in whispers, sleep in shifts, pray in vain. We have no sheriff, we have no deputies, and soon I fear we will have no town. I beg you, come to Windover, bring men, bring fire if you must, bring the wrath of God, because something is walking among our dead, and it is not finished. Yours in desperation and faith, Reverend Josiah Mercer, First Church of Windover.
Subject: The Vacation. User: FRDB55. Posted October 22nd, 1998.
We went on vacation last summer. Just a regular trip, something to make up for all the missed time, late work nights, and the 100 little ways parenting wears you thin. I booked a cabin at a mountain resort 2 hours from where I grew up, some overdeveloped lakeside town that used to be all mom and pop diners and now had mini golf, paddle boats, and a candy shop shaped like a log cabin. My wife packed puzzles and sunscreen. I packed books I wouldn't read. The kids, Owen, 12, and Lila, 6, were just excited to be somewhere with a pool and cable TV. The first 2 days were picture perfect. We took photos on the dock with a disposable camera. Lila caught a frog. Owen begged to rent a jet ski. The weather was warm and boring in the best way. We thought we were finally getting it right. Then, Owen disappeared. It happened fast. 1 second we were walking through one of those scenic pull-off trails, and the next he was gone. We'd let him jog ahead. He was always doing that, racing up paths, doubling back. He was wearing his neon orange Braves hat, and I remember seeing that color just vanish behind a bend in the trail. And then, nothing. No voice when we called, no crunch of shoes, no hat. We searched for an hour before running to the ranger station, and from there it turned into a waking nightmare. State police, dogs, rangers, volunteers. They put up posters, combed the woods. We answered the same questions again and again. What was he wearing? Had he been upset? Any custody issues? Anyone he might have gone with? My wife was sobbing. I tried to stay calm, but I failed. They let us stay at the trailhead until sundown, said it was too dark to keep looking. The search would start again at first light. We were told to go back to the cabin and rest. We didn't speak on the drive, and the wind had picked up. The air smelled like pine and dead leaves. We tucked Lila into the other bed, still in her clothes, and sat staring at the dark television. The silence hurt more than anything. I must have dozed off around 2 a.m., and when I woke up, Lila was sitting up in bed looking at the window. "I know where Owen is," she said. Voice flat, no panic, just certainty. We asked what she meant, and she said it again. "He's in the place with the stone woman. She told me." My wife started crying again. I felt my stomach drop. I wanted to ignore it, wanted to tell her it was just a dream, but something about her tone didn't feel like dreaming, so we pressed her for more. "She's in the ground," she whispered, "but she can talk. She said Owen is cold and waiting." I don't know why we got in the car. I don't know why I believed her, but we did. We asked her to guide us, and she did, through winding back roads and empty campgrounds, the kind of roads you'd miss if you blinked. No map, just headlights and instinct. After 20 seemingly long and never-ending minutes, she pointed to an old, overgrown path we'd passed earlier in the week. No sign, no markers, just gravel and trees. We parked and walked in with flashlights. Lila led the way. 10 minutes in, we found it. A cemetery. Not one on any map I had either. There was no entrance sign, just a rusted iron gate, bent open and headstones sunk into moss. We passed graves from the 1800s, names worn smooth by time and weather. Oaks leaned in close like they were watching. And then I saw the statue. She was tall, broken, half buried in leaves and dirt. An angel maybe, but her wings were gone and her eyes were scratched out, arms reaching up, not up, but down toward the ground. Lila walked straight to her and pointed. "He's under her." I ran toward it and started digging into that pile of leaves, digging with my hands as dirt and leaves, then broken stone, and then underneath it all, something soft. It was him. My son, curled under the base of the statue, barely breathing, covered in scratches, freezing cold but alive. The doctors could not explain it. He had a mild concussion, early stage hypothermia, and no memory of how he got there. Couldn't even say where he'd gone or what he saw. That cemetery doesn't show up in any of the county's land records. We checked at the ranger station and the local library. Nothing. The trail we took, not on any official park maps. They told us they'd already searched that area twice. I don't have an explanation, and all I know is my son is alive because of something my daughter saw in a dream. And I haven't prayed like this since I was 12, but I still say thank you to that stone woman every night.
Fear Daily is an independent podcast hosted by Brandon Schexnayder and written by Brennan Storr, with Joanna Smith serving as the consulting editor, audio production by Rachel Boyd, and sound design by Southern Gothic Media. This podcast is a work of fiction. Names, characters, places, and incidents are either products of the author's imagination or are used fictitiously. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, or to real events or locations, is entirely coincidental. Ad-free versions of Fear Daily are available now on your favorite podcast apps. For more information, visit feardaily.com. But move fast, before the server goes offline.